So you're a Subaru owner, huh? Then there's a pretty good chance you've run into this little guy, error code P0131. It's one of the top reasons for that dreaded check engine light. But hey, don't sweat it. In this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what that code means and, more importantly, how you can track down the real problem. Let's dive in.
You know the feeling? You're just driving along, minding your own business, and then, bam, that little orange engine icon pops up on the dash. Your heart sinks a little, right? But think of it this way. Your car isn't just trying to stress you out. It's actually giving you the very first clue to a mystery you can totally solve.
And for a whole lot of Subarus, that message it's sending is code P0131. Now, I know it sounds super technical and intimidating, but it's really not. It's just the starting point of our investigation. And the best part? It's an incredibly common and totally fixable code.
Okay, so what in the world is P0131? The official fancy definition is O2 sensor circuit low voltage for bank 1, sensor 1. Let's translate that into plain English. It just means your car's brain, the main computer, is getting a really weak signal from a super important emissions sensor. That's it.
And listen, don't let the jargon like bank 1, sensor 1 throw you off. It sounds complicated, but it's really just a specific address. It's telling us exactly which part is acting up. The front oxygen sensor. You know, the one in the exhaust system that's located before the catalytic converter. See? Simple enough.
So here's how it works. Your car's computer is expecting to hear a certain voltage from this sensor, but the P0131 code gets triggered when that voltage signal drops way too low. We're talking below about 0.23 volts, and it stays down there for too long. When the computer sees that, it throws up its hands and says, "Whoa, hold on, something's not right here," and flicks on that light.
All right, so we know what the problem is, a weak signal from that front O2 sensor. But the real mystery, the million-dollar question, is why? What's actually causing this? Well, the great news is there's a perfectly logical path to figuring it out.
And here it is. This is our diagnostic roadmap. We've got 4 main suspects, and the absolute key is to check them out in this exact order. We're going to start with the simplest, most common issue and work our way to the rarest, most complex one. Trust me, following this order is going to save you a ton of time and headaches. First up on our list, and you always start with the easiest thing first, right? It's a surprisingly common culprit, just plain old water. It's amazing how a little bit of moisture can get into that electrical connector and just wreak havoc on that sensitive little voltage signal. And the fix? It's just as straightforward. You're going to want to get your eyes on that sensor's wiring connector and the piece it plugs into. If you see any sign of moisture, green crusties, any corrosion at all, that is almost definitely your problem. Just replace those connectors and you should be good to go.
Okay, so what if the connector is bone dry and looks perfectly clean? No worries. Our investigation just moves on to the next suspect on the list, the wiring itself. That harness running between the sensor and the car's computer can get brittle, frayed, or damaged over time.
For this step, you're going to have to play detective a little bit. Carefully trace that wire from end to end. Look for any breaks, any spots where the insulation is rubbed off, or maybe an area where it's touching hot metal and shorting out. If you spot any damage, well, repairing or replacing that harness is your next move. All right, so the connector's dry, the wiring looks solid. What's next? Well, sometimes the part itself has just had enough. You got to remember, O2 sensors live in a crazy hot, harsh environment in the exhaust. They don't last forever. A sensor just failing on its own is a really common reason for this code.
And the solution here is exactly what you'd think. Just replace the sensor. You'll disconnect the wire, use a special socket to unscrew the old sensor from the exhaust pipe, screw the new one in nice and snug, and plug it back in. It's a standard repair that very often puts that P0131 code to bed for good.
And now, we've arrived at our final suspect. And I really have to stress this one, it's the least likely culprit of all. We're talking about the engine control module, the ECM. It's the car's brain, and while failures can happen, it is extremely rare.
Let me be crystal clear here. You should only even think about this possibility after you have 100% ruled out water, bad wiring, and a bad sensor. Replacing the ECM is a much bigger deal, and you want to be absolutely positive it's the problem before you go down that road. This is the last resort, period.
And you know, that really gets to the heart of it. This whole approach, following a logical process, is what lets you fix the actual problem quickly and correctly. It stops you from just guessing and throwing a bunch of expensive parts at your car, hoping one of them sticks. So let's boil this all down. What do you really need to remember? P0131 isn't some scary random code. It's a very specific clue about a low voltage signal from your front O2 sensor. Just follow that diagnostic funnel. Start with water, then check the wiring, then look at the sensor itself. And always leave the ECM for the absolute very end. A logical process isn't just a good idea, it's the fastest way to get your car fixed.
So the next time that little light pops on your dash, don't see it as a problem. See it as the start of a diagnosis. It's not a dead end, it's the first clue. You've got the roadmap now, so you know exactly how to follow those clues. So go on, pop the hood and solve that mystery. You can totally do this.